So I'd say there's two that I really think about. One is empathy. And some people really have empathy, and some people really have to work on empathy. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means it's one of the things that you have to spend a little bit more time and a little bit more attention, uh, kind of making sure that you're acting human, right? And there are some people who are out there that have a tendency to not see the human side in things. Um, so I would say empathy is one, um, because everyone has problems, and those problems, regardless of, everybody says you should separate your work and your home life. It just doesn't work that way. And they bleed into each other, and so you have to have a little bit of empathy in order to understand where people are coming from. I try to remind myself every day that my employees or my coworkers, they're not bad people. And they didn't come in today saying, how can I piss Jason off? And a lot of that has to do with, people's personal cultures, right? So I kind of believe that every individual is a culture in and of themselves. It's based off of their experiences and the interactions that they've had throughout their life. And then you can kind of expand that to neighborhoods, to families, etc. Um, but having a little bit of empathy helps you to kind of take the time to understand why somebody is trying to do something that you don't necessarily agree with. Problem solving, um, that's a key skill, just in the ability to kind of identify. Sometimes people can't even identify that there's a problem. um, and in order to be a good problem solver, you have to be able to identify that there's a problem. You have to be able to deduce what is the actual, what we would call in the military, the proximate cause, right? So what is the thing that is actually the problem? A lot of times, you'll notice, we give a class on emotional intelligence, and it's primarily about how not to argue with your coworkers. People will have these, coworkers that they just don't get along with, or that they argue with. And the question is, it's like, what's the argument about? Well, it's about A, B, or C. And you're like, are you sure that's really what the argument's about? Right? Because people are so busy being upset about something, they're not taking the time to, again, problem solve and identify what the actual problem is, in order to come to a solution. A lot of times you'll find that people they'll take what they believe to be the problem and run with it, provide answers to that problem, and then not understand why the solution they came up with isn't working. It's because you didn't attack the actual problem. You just attacked one of the symptoms. You attacked
Mm.
something that was a corollary. Um, and so being able to do that in conjunction with having empathy, I think, is what helps to make for some rock star employees or coworkers.